days ago. So.
Technology knowledge is great. Hey, talk to me about the path to get here. We talked about it a little bit yesterday, but in terms of the three guys you will have faced after Saturday, do you feel like you're facing the toughest guy Saturday night, or do you feel like your bigger tests were in the first two?
No, I feel like this is the biggest test. Just because of, I wouldn't have said that in the beginning of the tournament. I don't think a lot of people thought that Patchy would beat Horiguchi. But given, his last couple wins, Patchy is definitely the toughest opponent. This is definitely the two best bantamweights in the world. And I stand behind that.
When you look at his game and how, first of all, how deeply do you look at it, or is that something that the coaches do? Like, are you a film guy?
Yeah, I do all my stuff myself. Okay. I understand the game very well myself. I was brought up to to have a high fight IQ. So all my analysis, I also take analysis from my coaches, and we kind of coordinate on what we think, together as a group. But I do a lot of studying on my own, and when I look at Patchy, I see a highly skilled grappler. I see somebody who's improving. I see somebody who's kind of changed their way of life, sounds like. And, and I'm taking into account for that. But it's also, I'm hella confident in what I can do and what I'm capable of. And I have no doubt that I'll be the Grand Prix champion by the end of this.
Have you talked to Sergio about the Pitbull situation?
No, I didn't talk to him. I knew that they were going to fight before it was announced.
Okay.
Not like we haven't talked kind of exclusively about, what's the name? I'll see him on Fortnite every now and then or whatever, but we haven't talked, about that situation.
What do you think of Pitbull moving down? I mean, is this a smart move for him? Do you think he's going to struggle making the weight?
He's not a big guy. So hopefully he makes a good move to 35. I think this is just super exciting for the bantamweight division. I feel like that, granted I beat this or I win this fight on Saturday, I have a chance to fight somebody who's going to be the Bellator GOAT, one of the best in MMA. So this is super exciting. I couldn't be happier. I'm excited that he's making that step. He's also, on the cusp of something great, which nobody in martial arts has done, 3 weight classes champion. You hear people talk about it, but nobody has done it, so, and he's on the cusp of that. So that's just an amazing feat for a lifetime. He'll be remembered forever, if he accomplishes that. So for him to come down and me to have the opportunity to face somebody like that is crazy. But if you look on the other hand too, Sergio has a chance to beat somebody who's done the unthinkable, and then coming back off of an injury and doing it. So I think it's an amazing fight. I'm super happy this was made. I feel like it's an extension of a tournament that just makes the bantamweight division that much more spotlighted, and my position, and I'm super excited. I can't wait to watch it.
Provided you win on Saturday, which obviously you're planning to do, that fight does extend when you would be able to get back in there by at least 2 months, right? So does that bother you at all, or is the plan, hey, whatever, man, I'm going to have $1 million, so I can chill for a couple extra?
And I was thinking about the landscape of when I was going to be fighting. This tournament it's been a year. It's been a year since it started. And at the end of it, I'll have $1 million. And as everyone knows, I'm not necessarily eager to fight Sergio. So I figured also that Sergio, wanted to get back in the reins because he has been out for a year. I'm sure, he would be itching to get back. So I'll probably not have a long layoff after. But this gives me a chance to enjoy the $1 million in the bank, get a nice large size popcorn and watch this amazing fight. And I have a little time, I have a little time to reflect and to take some time with my family and enjoy the fruits of my labor. It's been a long road for me. I'm somebody who had to scratch and climb to get in this position. You know, I'm not somebody who had this amazing hype or this, highly storied, highlight reel of fights where people were just, just hankering or, wanting to see me. So I've had to scratch and climb to the top of the division. You know, now I'm one of the best, in the division. I feel like I've been one of the best, but now I'm getting recognized for being one of the best in the world. So I'm going to enjoy that, for a month or so and then, get right back to it. But I'm happy that, this fight is happening. So, I'll get some time.
And just one last quick one about that. Is there any concern that you have for Sergio that he has had such a long layoff and his time back is against, like you said, like the number one guy in Bellator history? Yeah, I mean, that's a tough test.
I think that's what makes this fight or that fight, interesting, because we get to see how Sergio bounces back after a pretty serious injury, and then we also get to see how Patricio Pitbull, how he cuts weight and how he deals with that, So, this fight is interesting on multiple different levels. So, that Sergio coming back is one.
Raufeon, let me just ask you something. I remember interviewing you, Bellator 236. I believe that was your first fight with the promotion. You fought Shaden on that one. Yeah. And man, even then, I don't even know if you're on the main card, but you just felt like, championship level, the confidence and the way you speak. Back even before you won that D2 national title wrestling, if we were to visit you on the wrestling mats, was that always kind of your personality? Do you always see yourself on these big stages coming up?
I feel like I will myself to these big stages mentally, The way I train, the way I prepare, the way I think about myself is championship level, and nothing that I do. I say this. I say how you do one thing is how you do everything. So I try to do everything, to the best of my ability, and I have a high kind of respect for holding myself to a high standard. So yeah, anything I do, I put my best foot forward and I attack it, full force. And and it starts with my thinking, how I think and how I go about it. I remember saying it was on the main card of Bellator's my Bellator debut. And I remember saying I think this is the start of something great, and I will be, champion of this division. I will be a force. And, I feel like I've just willed that into existence.
Yeah, well, you've been fulfilling your promise every step of the way, even with the obstacles that comes with life, comes with this game, as you well know. And you don't necessarily have to give us the timeline as far as your training situations, but Patchy Mix was up here recently, and he did kind of bring that up as far as a parallel with your guys' training rooms. Can you speak about your preparation on this fight? I've seen that you're no stranger to traveling, making it to high-level talents and coaches to train with them. How is that piece working for your personality? Do you prefer it this way? What's that like?
Yeah. Well, just because of the situation, I started at Rufus Sport and, I've had to fight Sergio, but it was more like a life decision. We had a second kid. So, I moved to Houston, which was a blessing for us as a family, because I have family there that can help with kids, so I can put more time into mixed martial arts. And then the Sergio fight happened. So then I had to kind of move camps, and then I went to Extreme Couture. And, I've just kind of been rolling with the punches, because again, I'm like, I do a lot of the things that I need to do on my own, because I kind of I've watched a lot of great fighters before me, and I have a good game plan, and the coaches that I've been able to come up with, Jens Pover, Pat Miletich, Duke Rufus, Tyron Woodley, Anthony Pettis, just I've had a lot of good knowledge, and so now I can recognize, high level thinking, high level coaches, and so now I ended up back home, and now I'm training with Eve Edwards, who's another Bellator or who's another MMA GOAT, you know what I mean? So I don't want to say it's like something that I do, but great people seem to gravitate me. I'm like blessed that I'm able to like work with the people that I'm able to work with, Eric Nixick as well. And the great minds that I'm able to work with is just like a blessing. I can't really say that I do that. I'm just like, I'm blessed.
Sure. Last one for me. Obviously, I'm familiar with Eric Nixick, but as a southpaw, my favorite southpaw is Eve Edwards. And relevant to this matchup at hand, you yourself were a southpaw. We know about your wrestling, but when I watch your fights, like, man, this guy's got good southpaw striking coming forward or off the counter. Some southpaws absolutely hate facing other southpaws. I know Patchy's game is wrestling and back takes is a strong part of his game. Not the only thing he's good at. That's probably his priority, but what's your opinion on the southpaw versus southpaw match?
Don't be telling my secrets, man. You giving away all the secrets. Yeah, I got the southpaw great. Eve was in the corner, and he was able to give me a lot of good techniques, you know. My game, or what was the question? I'm sorry. Southpaw versus southpaw. I've been lucky in that regard too, because I kind of came up with a lot of southpaw. I actually came up with a lot of black southpaws, which is crazy. Jordan Griffin, Jay Preston, it's a couple other from Rufus Sport, and and now I'm working with Eve Edwards, who's another southpaw. So I'm well versed. You know, I don't know how many southpaws I've faced, but I've always done well. I think Cass Bell was a southpaw, and a tall southpaw. I just understand. I understand the relationship, you know. Like I said, like I don't want to like give away, you know, everything that I know, but I study, and I study this game, and I study like why people switch stances, when people switch stances, and just the positions we in, the offensive opportunities and defensive opportunities I'm just well aware of. Jen, that's partly from me and partly from the coaching I've been able to have. Also a southpaw, my bad, I forgot. Just Pover, who's the one who started me in MMA, he's a southpaw. So yeah.
Hey, Stots, K. Williams for Can Chronicles Media, man. Let's be honest, you've been able to show and prove throughout your whole career. Even with you being vocal, you always step up to the stage, you know, in the big fights, man. And I feel as though you beating Sabatello in the last match after all the hoopla, and you really stood your ground and you really did your thing. Do you feel as though there's some added pressure for you to continue to win, being that you're so vocal?
You know what? And that's the part I like about it. You know, I feel like the more chips I put out, you know, the more I have to defend, and I appreciate that, you know. I want to be able to lose something, you know. I want it to be like, hey man, you was talking a lot. So now if you don't live up to what you say, you're going to have some backlash. Like I want that possibility, you know, because on the opposite end, I'm giving that backlash. Like I seen Sabatello in the airport, and I'm giving him, you know what I'm saying? I'm able to say whatever the fuck I want to say, you know, because you can't say nothing. So, I like that, you know, that's part of the game. And I'm more than happy about that.
And also, how comfortable are you in the bantamweights to where you see yourself eventually becoming the spearhead of the bantamweights?
I think I'm well on my way to becoming that, you know. I think I say this all the time, you know, I feel like I'm the best in the world, you know. And that's not, I feel like it takes the world some time to catch up, but I've always felt like I was the best in the world, you know, from when I started. And that's just because, you know, the way I train, you know, who I train with, how I train, how I perform, I feel like I'm the best in the world. So whether the world catches up now or it catches up later, you know, I'll be the spearhead eventually in the people's eyes or in the eyes of mainstream media. But like I've been knowing that I've been the best for a long time.
Any last minute words to Patchy Mix?
Just be ready, man, to fight, bro. Because I'm coming out there to take your head off. You know, I'm coming out there to punch you in your mouth. You know, I talk a lot of shit, you know, but I back that goddamn shit up, and I'm waiting. Take some shit from me, bro.